a bit of an update on the Cummins. It's the end of the season now. Just heading away for the winter. A lovely day in November, but with lockdowns, etc., we're shut down. So time to put it away. Engine hours now 189 on there, 183 on there. Varied a bit because of trolling. So I use one engine to troll. Use one day, one the other day. But yeah, cruising along there now. 12 and a half. There's a lot of growth on the boat at this point, so she wouldn't be doing 13 and a half, 14 normally with that. Just there, just under 2,000 RPM. And we have just over 6 or 7 psi of boost on each engine. Just up there to about 2100, just over 2100. It's 10 psi. Is at 14 and a half. By 22, she cruises around 16 knots. So we're back in on the river now. We're just heading the way up slowly. So as for the engines over the season, I'm absolutely delighted with them. Start instantly all the time. Run lovely and clean. The only issue I had was the 2 replacement lift pumps I bought, both spare X pumps. One never worked out of the box. I saw that in one of the startup videos that it just didn't work. The second one lasted 60 hours and then crapped itself on a shitty day at sea. So that was a pain in the ass. Now I managed that day to get the engine running again, and it would run as long as I primed it all out and everything, but then it would it just couldn't self-prime. Once you switched it off, it was gone. Stuck the original lift pump back on, away it went, perfect, no problem since. Other than that, fuel burn seems to be running at about 2,000 revs is where I cruise it most of the time. I'd say about 30 litres an hour for the pair, and that gives me about 13 and a half, 14 knots, which I consider fairly good. The best I've got out of them was day trolling, so running around 1200 RPM on one engine, and that engine burned 4 litres an hour, which I thought was fairly exceptionally good, doing kind of 6.5 knots most of the time. Yeah, as for performance in them, I mean, this is a 38-foot Aquastar, 1.5 to 1 reduction boxes, 17 by 20 props, and I get like that about, when she's clean, 13 and a half, 14 knots at 2,000. 22, she's kind of 15 and a half, 16, and flat out I got 18 knots, but one engine was only getting 2300 RPM, so that pump still needs turning up a little. Neither of them will quite, the other one made 2500 RPM, but neither of them will do that now that she has growth on. So I could probably do with turning up the pumps on a little more on the starboard engine and just a hair on the port engine. Not that it matters out like that, I don't run them flat out, but yeah, I reckon with both engines running to 2500 revs, she'd probably do 20 knots when she's clean and light. Not that it matters, I really don't run it like that. Only other thing I've done is my temperature senders. I'm going to look at them there. That one's reading just under 80. That one tends to read around 90, but I got one of the engine watchdogs. Been meaning to buy one of those for a long time, and as you can see, it's actually 70, so that one's actually cooler than the other. Now those are bolted directly to the thermostat housings. They're not in water, they're just onto the thermostat housing. Now they're in slightly different places. I'll move them to the same place, so they may be the same temperature, but I think I have 74 degree thermostats in as well. I have heard the engines would be slightly more efficient, a little bit hotter, but it's always nice to have that reserve of having them a little cool. But temperature wise she stays great. Oil pressure, that's down. She runs around 60 most of the time. That gauge is fluctuating a bit, but I found those gauges are very sensitive to the connections onto the sender. So yeah, that's about it really. A few little oil leaks here and there. I know Cummins are notorious for leaking oil. The rocker cover gaskets on one engine all leaked for some reason. All new gaskets on both engines, all the same rocker covers, and all of them on one leaked, all of them on the other didn't. So strange. And other than that, I'm going to take a gearbox off again this year because I have a slight leak from the gearbox I need to sort out. And while I'm at it, I'm going to get the flange on the shaft and on the gearbox machines, just get the rust cleaned off them, because after the initial run there, that's what I discovered was the problem. I separated the two, cleaned the two faces, and that got rid of that vibration that I had early in the season. Pretty much, there was a little bit there, so I'll get the machine and I'll have the shaft checked while I'm at it. But it was basically, you barely notice it. You can see now from the light there, there's a little trimmer every now and again, and that's about what it does. But that's probably due to growth on the props now at this stage as well. But other than that, she's very, very smooth. So yeah, that's about it. I'll give you one look over the engines when I'm done. They're a little bit grubbier now than they were. Again, they've been working away all season. Could do with a bit of a hose down now and degrease the engine bays a little bit again. Just clean up a little bit. But other than that, all good. So yeah, highly recommend it. So thanks for watching. Hope to help with someone. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep an eye on these things, and hit the like button as well if you wouldn't mind. So thank you very much, and I will speak to you next time.